guys, if you've ever wanted to be a walking blender, then this Crit Blade Vortex build is for you. The build is viable for both softcore and hardcore gameplay, it deals a ton of damage and it is very tanky. It can also clear the highest level of maps and it is Atziri viable. For defenses, this build utilizes the Mind Over Matter Keystone, tons of instant leech through Warlord's Mark and Vault Pact, Immortal Call and the Fortify support gem. And due to the interaction between Vault Pact and the Life Leech from Warlord's Mark, Reflect is not an issue either. Your main damage setup consists of Blade Vortex linked with Spell Echo, faster casting, added fire damage, critical hit damage and increased duration. Until you get yourself a 5 link, you can leave out either added fire damage, increased duration, or if you still don't have a lot of crit chance, you can leave out critical hit damage. To generate power charges you will need Blade Vortex, faster casting, increased duration and power charge on crits. This means you'll be running 2 different Blade Vortex setups on your skill bar. However, this setup is mainly used to generate and keep up your power charges. Simply cast this skill once in between every pack and you will have a permanent uptime on your power charges. To improve your mobility and survivability, you need to link Whirling Blades with faster attacks and Fortify. Remember that Fortify adds a buff so that whenever you hit your enemy it makes you take 20% less incoming damage from hits, and since you're standing in melee range anyway, this is a great way to boost your survivability. To sustain your mana and life and to prevent you from dying to Reflect, you will need Blasphemy linked with Warlord's Mark. With this setup, your Warlord's Mark curse will instead act as an aura surrounding your character. Any enemy influenced by the aura around you will grant you a chance to generate endurance charges and give you mana and life leech. Now to further improve your defenses, I also recommend cast when damage taken linked with Immortal Call, increased duration and Flame Golem. This setup together with the Blasphemy aura will make efficient use of your endurance charges by allowing Immortal Call to absorb these, thus making you immune to physical damage for 2 to 3 seconds at a time when you take a heavy hit. And with Flame Golem in there as well, you don't have to worry about resummoning it either. Lastly, I recommend adding in Vol Haste, Vol Clarity and increased duration to your setup for a nice boost to damage, mobility and to prevent yourself from running out of mana in those situations where you can't leech and when you really need to spam your Blade Vortex without the fear of running out of mana. You can add in whatever you prefer in the remaining slot in the 4 link. So let's talk about the methods as how to level this character. To speed up the leveling process, I recommend buying 2 Lifespray wands for dual wielding and socketing in your Blade Vortex gem with whatever support gems you prefer and have available at that time. Then through the skill tree, start by moving towards the shadow section of the tree, pick up the physical damage notables and some life, then head towards the Templar start of the area for some increased area of effect nodes, and then finally start to head towards the Witch section of the skill tree for even more AoE, life and critical nodes. And for a much more detailed overview guys, make sure to check the leveling skill tree templates listed in the forum build guide. They will show you much more accurately how to progress if you're in doubt. For your gear, you primarily need to look for affixes such as increased spell damage, cast speed, life and mana to make yourself more tanky. Remember, more mana makes Mind Over Matter more efficient, and of course, enough elemental resistances so you can be capped at 75% at Merciless. And if necessary, to cover your strength and dexterity requirements of your skill gems, try to get a bit of those attributes on your gear or crafted if necessary. As for unique items, I recommend getting yourself 2 Divinaria daggers. These daggers greatly increase your damage and crit chance together with greatly increasing the area of effect of your Blade Vortex skill. Besides that, I also recommend getting yourself a Lightning Coil. The unique affix, 30% of physical damage taken as lightning damage, makes you much safer against physical damage and will greatly increase your survivability in higher tier maps. As for your jewels, I recommend looking for a mix of the following affixes. Increased spell damage while dual wielding, increased cast speed while dual wielding, increased cast speed, and increased maximum life. If necessary, you can try to get a bit of attributes or elemental resistances on your jewels as well. The flask setup I recommend for this build is 2 Divine Life Flasks of Staunching, 1 Ample Granite Flask of Iron Skin, a Rupee, Topaz or Sapphire Flask depending on the content you're farming, and then finally an Ample Quicksilver Flask of Warding to increase your movement speed and to protect you against curses. And that's it guys, make sure to check the forum guide for more details and for future updates to the build. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments in the forum post, subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the content. Thank you for watching and bros, do you even nerd?